my gosh. So here we are today with another inspired episode of Good Fat Life. And I want to just encourage you to go check out goodfatlife.com. We have a new magazine it's on its way to the printer, which is so exciting. And we have a workshop coming up in November 4th and 5th. The details will be on our events page at goodfatlife.com. And that said, I am so excited about our guest this week. She embodies a practice that is very near and dear to my heart, and I just recently was connected. Actually, a couple of times I've had people say, you must meet Joy. And so I want to introduce Joy
Dettling.
Ling. And it's such a joy to have you here.
It is a joy to be here.
So I get, what's it like having the name Joy with the word joy?
That's an interesting question. You know, I was not a fan of my name actually for a very long time. And it's interesting you asked this question because there was a huge shift that happened for me actually at an ecstatic dance event.
Okay.
I'd say for most of my childhood, I didn't really like the name Joy because it was different. No one else had that name. And, you know, I'd say as a kid, I didn't, going through puberty and all these things, I had a lot of periods in my life where I didn't feel very joyful, and it felt like a big expectation to live up to. And then there were the things like you get to Christmas time and like everyone gives me Christmas ornaments because it says joy. And I'm like, and then they're singing like Joy to the World and things like that. And I think like as a kid, I really disliked being at the center of attention. So I kind of didn't like being different or being noticed because of that.
Of your name. Huh.
But it's interesting because in ecstatic dance, which I'm sure we'll talk more about, but I had an experience where a huge shift came to me in that experience where I just really, in the dance experience, I just felt so much uninhibited joy. And it felt like the most joy I had ever felt in my life. And I just felt this extreme like understanding and gratitude for my name being Joy. And since that experience, I've actually like embraced my name. Whereas I feel like before that experience, I always kind of felt like, yeah, it's a cool name, but I didn't really embrace it. And I think, it's because I finally was able to embody my name in that experience. So
that's so let's talk about this. So ecstatic dance, when you hear that word, it can conjure up so many things. Mm-hmm. And so why don't you, I would love to just for you to just describe what it really is.
What it really is. And this is the thing that it's really difficult to describe what it is because the experience is almost beyond words. It's something that it has to be experienced to really be understood. But to use words as best I can, if you think of ecstatic, a lot like that word kind of almost invokes going to like another state, right? Or like a state of ecstasy, where you can think of yourself being in bliss or being in, I think of being like an ultimate presence as well when you're in an ecstatic state. But it's like this place of like just real like freedom and expanded consciousness. And here's the thing is that a lot of people will go to, various substances to get to that kind of state or do breath work, or there's all kinds of things that you can do to invoke these ecstatic states. But what if we could get there through dance and through movement? And that's what this experience is. And it is, and so, however, looking at that, it almost like overblows it a little bit, where it also can be really simple and subtle though too. And it's what it is it's a free form container for people to move or not move however they want to in any given moment. And there happens to be music playing There happens to be other people in the room, but it's all about everyone in the room doing whatever it is that they want to do. And it might look like dance. It might look like someone doing like a handstand. It might look like someone doing jumping jacks, or someone's just taking a nap in the corner. And, at any given moment, if you had someone on the street poke their head into the room, it might look like this is not dance going on here, because like everyone's doing their own thing.
Right.
And so that's what it really is, just really a therapeutic space for people to explore authentic expression, however that looks like for them.
With your body.
With your body.
So on Sunday, I mean, and there's so many things. Like when I first was exposed to it, are you familiar with Nia?
I am familiar. I've never done it, but
I had spent years studying Nia, and you have like belts. And but we'd go to workshops and classes, to earn your belts. But one of the things that we had done would be some ecstatic dance, and it was really very uncomfortable for me. I mean, and I think it is for many people when they first experience it, because you're not used to being. We're not used to being in a space where other people are, where you just don't feel judgment. Like, oh, am I moving okay, or are they watching me, and it's not like that at all. But I found that it took a little bit of time to get comfortable that this was just about my dance, right, and nobody else's. I don't know if other people experience that.
Oh, I think everyone experiences exactly what you talked about there, and I think like I can even like look at my own journey with, my personal journey in dance. I feel like, I was very shy as a child. I was like socially very anxious, awkward, and like I can look at like, there's been this kind of opening up and blooming for me that happened. I'd say like especially, in my kind of like post-college years, just like, like opening up and expanding. But I think also like for me, dance has been, it's taken that almost to an extreme, because I get that most people, when they come into, first of all, like dancing, right, can be very nerve-inducing. Right. Most of the time when we dance, it's at like a bar or a club where there's barely any lighting, right? And usually you've had a couple drinks before you get started.
Or a wedding.
Yeah. Right? So it's like, I think in our culture, we're used to dancing in a very specific kind of environment where it's like you almost have to be somewhat lubricated in order to start dancing. But if you look at like traditional cultures, that like oftentimes dance is like a centerpiece of the community and the culture, and that dance is actually something that is meant for community bonding. It's meant for release. It's meant for spiritual connection. It's a common form of expression that is often a centerpiece of a culture, and I think a huge part of why that is because dance is really so therapeutic, and it's actually like so natural for us as humans. However, we have this cultural conditioning that has made us like so awkward of just being ourselves.
Uncomfortable. So that was the experience. So I came to your, and you don't call it a class. I mean, what would you call it?
I just call it dance.
I
call it an event. I call it more of an event.
So I came to your dance event a couple of weeks ago, and I was just really tired. I'd been traveling a lot. I was really tired, and I said to you, "Okay, Joy, is it okay if I just lay on the floor, and just listen to the music?" And you're like, "Absolutely. It's your dance. Do what you want." And so I came in. That's what I expected to do, and then my body was like, "Okay, brain, you can go. You can shut down and chill if you want, but we're moving." And I moved my body moved most of the hour and a half. And it was wonderful, but it was just so interesting that feeling of, I just have to move. And it just felt so good to be in a space where I could just move the way I felt like moving. with no judgment and no censorship. And your music selections were just fabulous because they just kind of resonate in a way that your body just goes, oh, I have to move with that one, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's just something really magic about it. And it was also so kind of eye-opening to just go, I could do this every day. And I should be doing this every day. And how can I create this kind of a space environment to do this on a much more regular basis?
Yeah.
So I don't
get
know.
it.
Yeah, I know you do, right? So,
Yeah.
so how do we get more of this, or how did you get into it to begin with?
How
I'd
did
love to
I
hear.
get into it? You know, I've actually always really enjoyed dance from a young age. Like I took dance classes like jazz and tap and musical theater when I was younger, you know, as a little girl. And and then, you know, dance is something that I think I carried with me as a therapeutic release without even really thinking about it, through the rest of my life, where I was kind of like a closet dancer. Like I would dance in my bedroom
Okay.
as a form of stress release, you know, like I've always been into music. I've always loved music, and like, you know, just when I was younger, just I'd be listening to music all the time. And you know, and just so in my bedroom, like, you know, I again, being the socially awkward person I wasn't really spending time with friends. I was just like in my room all the time. And if I needed to like get some steam out, I would just put on music and dance in my bedroom. And then that's something I kind of carried with me, you know, through like my stressful college years. It would be like, oh, I got to like move my body and take a study break. I'm just going to put some music on and like go crazy in my room for a little bit. And so like for me, I've always naturally used dance as a form of therapeutic release without really realizing, without
Wow.
like being like, oh, I gotta get my therapy today. Oh, this is my dance time. No, I just naturally did it. And then, you know, so I've, again, and this kind of connects back with my passion for music. So in college, I also DJ'd at WCBN FM in Ann Arbor. That's the University of Michigan student radio station. I was there for 7 years and just, you know, had it was a like for me just such a fun experience to just like play with music and put music together.
Oh my gosh.
So
Okay.
so and also it's a very eclectic station. It's like it is for college radio stations, it is, even compared to that, it is like beyond alternative. So I just learned and got to explore so much different music and like putting like all kinds of different crazy music together, you know, in this like mixed up tapestry. So I had so much DJing experience as well from doing all of that. And I love to dance. And you know, as I remember like as a DJ, I would often have this dream like, man, like I wish I could DJ for like these like, I don't know, like artsy parties where people are like dancing all weird and I can just play whatever weird music I want to play.
And then so you did it.
And then a few years later, you know, and then some years later, you know, on my travels, I stumbled upon this event. I was actually in Bali, Indonesia, which is kind of, you know, a very like new age hippy dippy hub. I went to Ecstatic Dance there and I was like, whoa, this is what I've been dreaming of. This actually is a thing and it exists. And like from that point on, anywhere I'd go, I would seek out ecstatic dance. I'd be like, I want to find more ecstatic dance. And then there was a time when I was living down in Asheville, North Carolina, and they had such a huge ecstatic dance culture down there where
Okay.
I was dancing 3 or 4 times a week just at various events there because it was just so prolific. And then I moved back up to Michigan here in Livingston County, and there was none of that here. And I missed it. I really wanted it. And I just realized, and that's been a part of, I think, why I'm back up here, which I grew up here. And after many years of traveling and being around, I've come back about a year and a half ago. And sometime after being up here, realized I'm here to create the things that I was out in the world seeking this whole time. And since there's no ecstatic dance here, it means that I need to create it. And so that's what led me to starting Livingston County Conscious Dance.
Got it.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so glad you did. And that explains or gives texture to the music. I mean, the music you had was just, it was fantastic. And I mean, I love music. Like you said, music kind of has gotten me through life,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
And there's just something magic about it. But I don't have like playlists. Although Alexa seems to be creating my playlist because we'll have, I'll go, just play music. And I never, it could be a folk song, Peter, Paul and Mary, or it can be Queen, or,
Yeah.
or Beethoven's Ninth. And those kind of collaborations are, it's just fun. I didn't realize how eclectic my music is until you just said that, until she's playing back the things that I like to listen to. And but I would love to get on your playlist because I know it's full of music that I've never heard before. And
Yeah.
but you were right about cultures. I love studying different cultures, and dance. That community dance is a big part of lots of cultures, and they'll dance all night long.
Mm-hmm.
And with the drumming,
Yep.
is such a it just gets to your soul.
It really does. And I think like that's one of the things for me with dance has always been that it just feels so natural, and it's a way for me to turn off my mind and like the chitter chatter that's up here, or it to me dance feels like one of the fastest ways for me to connect with just my humanness, and like to just be me. And to just because I've also explored tons of different types of meditation and other various practices like to help you clear your mind, or to help. I'm kind of like a self-help nut. And
I get it. I get it.
Get
Yes,
it.
I do totally.
All of the listeners
Right,
get it.
right.
And it's the thing is for me, it's like for me, dance really is, it's the fastest way to just access like, okay, let's clean the slate. Like let's clean all this stuff
I
away.
love that.
Yeah. Yeah. And I too, like, I like that you were talking about the Nia and how it like took you, like you felt nervous at first, right? And I'd like to go back and address that because almost everyone feels that. That comes to my dances. And what I want to say is that it's something that if you feel that way, it's all the more reason why this opportunity is something to explore, because it allows you to face that fear, because I have so many people that are like, I'm like so scared to do this. Like there's other people in the room. I'm not good at dancing. I can't dance. And I'm like, it doesn't matter. You can do whatever you want. And so there's so many people that come in and they're so nervous, right? And so, but this container, it allows you to face that like head on.
Was terrified.
Yeah.
I was like, just want to run in the bathroom. Right?
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And, or people will just kind of like the dance starts and like other people start moving around and, you've got someone who's nervous in there and they're just kind of like watching around and like, I don't know what to do. But it's like I've just observed this, and I've felt this myself when I've been in ecstatic dance. Like I still will, like if, I remember when I would get into like different environments or something, I would still kind of feel that for a moment. So like, whoa, like I feel kind of self-conscious and awkward. But it's like every time you face that, it's almost like working a muscle where you just, you like allow that to relax,
I love that. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And it like, but it not only shifts the dance, it shifts everything else.
Right.
Right. It's like you just kind of like calm into, hey, we're all just here together and let's just dance, and it's okay. It's safe. It's okay.
Exactly. And it's like you're able to break through that barrier in the dance room, right? Where I've had so many people tell me they came to their first dance and were like, oh my God, I was like so scared at the beginning of this. And then they were like, by the end, it's like I felt like I had no no inhibitions, and they're just like almost amazed at the experience. I've had people, I've had like tears at our closing circle. I've had people just, they come for their first time. They're just like, their mind is blown at like what they just experienced.
So I had one I was in Houston, and there were about 300 people in the room, and we did that. And I have to say, it's probably still one of the most magic experiences of my life, because the energy, when you just go into that without judgment and everybody's just doing their dance, it's like mind-boggling. And there's no chemicals, there's no substances. It's just our own natural.
It's our own natural high, really. It's our own energy.
Yeah.
And and I have had dances where I like the first one you came to, where you were like, Joy, I'm just so tired. I'm probably just gonna lay down. I've had so many dances where I've went into the room that way, and I don't know what it is. If there's like some type of magical spring of energy beneath the dance floor, but where like I've had like my most energetic dances sometimes, at those times where I felt like I have absolutely no energy. I got like 2 hours of sleep last night, and and energy, it just will come out of nowhere. And I think that's part of like the magic of this experience too, is that I think it really helps us to get past some of our self-limiting beliefs about what we can do and what we can't do. I've experienced that time and time again. Yeah.
It does. And like you said, it just clears your mind. And so you just kind of like go back into the world with this just amazingly openly creative space, or you can take a nap and just have a really deep sleep. And
Yeah.
So what would you, if, for people who have never experienced it, and then maybe it's not in their area, I mean, how would you say, to get started?
How would you get started? Look for opportunities happening in your community. There is like an ecstaticdance.com that I think is a directory for ecstatic dances. I think all around the globe, actually. But if it's not in your area, it might just be starting the way I started, which was turning on some funky music and having fun in your bedroom. And just and there's, and like you said, that for people who this isn't they're like, they've never even danced before, right? And maybe moving in their body feels really awkward. It can just be by starting, just by exploring, like asking that question, like, why do I feel awkward?
Just starting to build the awareness.
That like, oh, there's that. And it's, we can bring kind of like almost like a mindfulness practice into it, where it's like, it's more about like asking your body, like, how do I want to move? Do I notice that I'm holding tension in my body that I don't need to be holding there? Am I stiff? Are there only like certain types of movements that I do? What I love about this dance is that I find it to be really, in my opinion, one of the healthiest forms of exercise, because it's allowing your body to move through whatever types of movement that it naturally wants. Even with taking your brain out of the equation, like an exercise class where it's like, do this, do that. It's like, no, there's no brain, there's no external input. I'm just letting my body flop around however it wants to. And, it allows for a wider range of motion than we usually would give ourselves, even in most exercise or even yoga classes, that we can allow our body to move however it wants to move without dictating that. And so it's like we can start to explore just on our own, asking the question, like, how does my body want to move? Am I sitting up too straight right now, or does it actually feel better to kind of go to, slouch to the side? Or, what does my body need? Is there an adjustment that can happen that like my body wants that I can make?
I found that with my arms, is that my arms will all of a sudden just want to start moving. And I'm like, I don't move my arms enough, right? Because they just want to move. And it's just so interesting how our bodies just have this intelligence or this desire in them that, given the opportunity, they just run with it.
It does, yeah, and it's amazing how easy it comes too. And that's the thing is like, for the individual who feels super awkward about this kind of thing, and they're like, I don't know what my body wants. I've never paid attention to my body. It doesn't really move. It's like it's so much there. There might be that initial like discomfort to get past an awkwardness, but it's like once you do, like your body knows what to do. Your body's online. It's there. It just is waiting for you to say hello.
And
but it'll wake up real fast.
And give it that opportunity.
Yeah.
So, it's just, I'm so delighted that there were people outside in the community that were like, you guys have to meet. You guys have to meet. And so I'm so grateful to them for keeping on that, right?
Yeah.
So good. So if somebody wanted to come to the class, where would they find you?
So currently I'm holding classes every Sunday morning at 10:30 a.m. at Michelle's Academy of Dance in Brighton, Michigan.
Okay.
And if they look for our Facebook group, which is Livingston County Conscious Dance, it's a Facebook group. We usually have like a sprinkling of special events as well. So like we will do community potlucks that often include a dance, or, I might be bringing in some weekday dances this fall as well. So, yeah.
All right. Well, that's awesome. And so speaking of self-care and knowing our bodies, I just want to do a big shout out to Hands On Health Chiropractic. They're one of our sponsors, and we are so grateful that they exist because they are really dedicated to keeping us moving easily and well. And sometimes in life we'll just overdo or have a situation where we need an adjustment. And the folks at Hands On Health are amazing at taking excellent care of our bodies. And they have massage and a number of different modalities to be sure that we are moving beautifully and can dance brilliantly. So thank you to Hands On Health. And I want to just thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me here. It's been a lovely time.
It's such a joy. All right. Well, then we'll just go out and dance our good fat life, right?
Sounds like a plan.
Okay.
Yep.
Thanks, Joy.
Okay, thanks.